Prompt engineering is dead because I don't prompt AI anymore. All I do is ask AI with one simple sentence to get a job done, and it does the complete job end to end for me to the standard that I use inside of my business. And the way I did this is by implementing what an AI operating system. An AI operating system allows AI to act like an AI employee in your business. Now, if you're new here, this is part 2 of my video series. I did create a video before this that explained the 6 fundamentals of AI employees. So if you haven't watched that video yet, I recommend you to watch that video before watching this one. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate what it looks like to give AI those 6 elements that allows it to act like an employee. First, I'm going to go over the fundamentals on where these 6 building blocks fit inside an AI operating system, why you should have an AI operating system in the first place as a business owner, and how should you operate your AI operating system, and what does the work look like when it comes to running an AI business that runs on AI employees. Then I'll show you exactly how I would use it to create an email in my business where I have AI write the complete email from start to finish, doing an end-to-end job in my business. Now, real quick, if you want to build AI employees with me, I do run a community called AI Employee Builders, where I'll show you exactly step-by-step how you can build your first AI employee in your business within 7 days. I've made it easy enough where you do not need to spend hours and hours learning AI and going through countless hours of courses, where I just put it all into a nice dashboard that you can follow, and it will guide you step-by-step towards building your first AI employee within 7 days. Now, other people that have used this have built AI employees within 7 days and have gotten results such as doubling their client capacity, regaining up to 40 hours a month, and learning how to build more AI employees within other people's businesses, allowing them to make more money. So if you want that, more details are in the description. Looking forward to see you inside. All right, so in my previous video, we went over the 6 building blocks that turn AI into an employee in your business. Well, where should you house those 6 building blocks? Well, those 6 building blocks right now are probably in your mind right now. So the things required for AI to execute work, let's say the context, the tools, the memory on how to do the work, and then the exact job or SOPs and work standard to do the job is probably all in your head. Like everything relies on you. So this is why a lot of business owners keep on spending their time prompting AI, needing to copy paste the context, trying to tell it what to do, trying to explain the job, trying to copy paste the outputs from different tools. This is why you are the operating system in this case, and that's not what we want. What we want is we want to house everything required for AI to do the job for us like an employee inside an AI operating system, where we can just have one request and the AI employee can do the job for us. Now, there's a big difference between using an AI just by itself and then using AI with an operating system. If you use an AI agent, or normally, you're going to be prompting all the time because you might give it a brief, you give it a prompt, you explain how to do things. It does the task, and then you need to check it again, and then you need to send another brief or another prompt to have it do the task again. So in this case, you're constantly working with AI over and over again. Now, this isn't a problem if you're just getting started with building stuff with it and you're discovering how to use it, then cool. But over time, you should be solidifying your learnings into an operating system or into folders or skills that AI agent can then run again without needing you to constantly prompt it over again. It needs to learn as you use it. So this is why we have an AI operating system. It pretty much tracks how we do everything in our business. So we have all of our context stored inside a folder, and AI can read these folders and then understand how to do the work without us needing to constantly prompt us. So in other words, all the prompts that we've used will be stored, or the context that we've used, it will be stored inside the AI operating system. So instead of we give it a prompt, let's say we give it an instruction over here, a small prompt, what happens is AI is going to read our context first, then it's going to run a skill to do that work. Then it should be able to check its own work based on the references and previous work you've done that you've approved. Does this pass the standard that you have? And then it should deliver and then figure out whether it needs any approval from your side. You'd approve it, and then you ship it out to the world. So what's happening here is AI acts like an employee because it has access to your content, it has access to your work standard, which is in a skill, and is able to check on its work before it flags it or delivers it to the world. So it runs a whole job on its own. So how does that look like in a step-by-step process? So let's say this is you over here and you're interacting with an AI operating system. On your AI operating system, doesn't matter what platform you use. This could be like Codex, Claude, Cowork, doesn't matter. That is your AI operating system. Okay, within your AI operating system, you are going to first connect it to a project on your computer or a folder. And within this folder, you're going to have all of the stuff about your business inside of it. That way, the AI agent that you use, whether it's Claude or GPT, is able to scroll or go into that folder and find the relevant context to the work. So let's say the AI agent you're using is Claude and you ask it draft this week's email. That agent is able to act like an AI employee in your business because it has access to these elements. Number one, it has access to your project. Number two, it has access to a business map. So if we're using Claude, this would be the Claude.m, or if you're using or OpenAI's model, is going to be agents.md. Okay, within this business map, it's going to show and explain how your project is. Okay, from then on, it's going to have routing towards specific context or specific parts of your folders on where you can find the context. So here's where we have system routing. So it routes the AI on where to get stuff. And within the system routing, it will also route towards skills, which are playbooks on how you do work in your business. So another way you can view this is think of it sort of like SOPs as well. Okay, then the agent will be able to run the specific skill to get an output. And from that output, it is reviewed via a secondary agent, or it could be reviewed via code, just to make sure that this output is trustworthy enough for us to ship it out to the world. Okay, so then we have an agent here that would check the work before it ships. And then if it doesn't, it will then reroute it again back to the first agent that is doing the work for us. That way we have a feedback loop of getting work done. That way we don't need to constantly review the work ourselves. AI can self-validate the work for us or do the quality assurance. Okay, once it's approved, the AI is going to create an output. Let's say this is an email, and then we're going to do the final reviews because that is what we need to do before we ship it out to the world or to our clients. Now, once you reach this point, we're going to review this output over here. And then if there's any adjustments we make, we will then tell AI to codify it into our workspace. And that's where we implement learning. So all the learnings we get from this, or the mistakes, let's say it makes some mistakes, it makes some good work, we can give it feedback, and then we can take these learnings to then further improve our skills over here or our folders and references. That way AI can always improve over time. Now I want to go real quick over what routing is, because this can be a little bit confusing. I'll go over this on a demonstration in a moment. But what happens in routing is you're going to have a file at the top of your project, what I like to call business map, but this can also be a Claude.md or agents.md or Gemini.md if you're using Gemini. And within this folder, we want to explain our whole business inside of it. So we want to explain what we sell, who we serve, our voice, and where things live in our project space. This allows AI to then understand where to find things. So every agent will read this folder, every agent will read this file, and then from this file, it will understand where to find the relevant skills to run a specific task. So let's say I ask draft this week's email. It has access to context, so it knows where to find relevant context, and then it can know to run the specific skill. And then within that specific skill, it has a playbook that explains exactly how to do it. So exact steps, what rules to follow, and what examples to run through. And then it can also read connectors that are relevant to do that work. And then it goes through all of this together, following the skills, and then accessing the relevant context, and then accessing the relevant it's able to run all of this and then create an output for us. Let's say it is an email. Okay, so that's how the routing works. This will make more sense as I go through the demonstration. So next thing I want to go over is how do we codify? So there's this part over here where once AI creates an output, how do we create the learning to where AI understands how we think and how to do the work? In this case, we don't just want to correct AI once, we want to codify that correction so that AI can then learn from that and not make the same mistake over again. So let's say you found a mistake inside the email, right? It forgot something. What we want to do is we want to correct it, and then we also want to codify it. So we correct it for this run, and then we also want to tell AI, hey, I want us to codify this into a rule. So it adds this rule into our skill file, and then every future run, it reads that rule, and then it doesn't make that mistake again. In this case, what happens over time is we want our operating system to keep on getting better and keep on learning our business. So the value of our business goes up over time, because as we use it, the more learnings we get, the more feedback we get, the better the operating system operates. So we also have our own data and intellectual property stored that our AI employees can run on. This compounds over time. And then if we want to, we can then license our system to other people, because we've used our skills so many times and we've created deliverables that are so good, or customized workflows, that people can then use our system to use AI to get deliverables inside of their business, like so. So the next question is, okay, this is great. So how do we actually do this? How do we get to train our operating system? So every time we use AI, we're going to ask it to do a job, right? Okay, we're going to observe how AI does a job. So we're going to watch each step and figure out what it's actually doing. Then from the output, we're going to judge it and figure out, okay, is this up to our standard and what we do to ship to the world or to our clients? If yes, then we tell AI, this is a great job, save this as a reference for future runs. If not, then we go ahead and we correct it, and we tell AI what went wrong, and we try to codify it like so. And then we'll repeat that over time whenever we run the next job with AI. So this then creates this feedback loop that trains our operating system over time. So the real thing we want to focus on is building our operating system, or what I like to call is the infrastructure that AI runs on. If we focus on that, then we can have AI employees that run 80% of our business, and all we need to do is do the last 20%, which is reviewing the work, shipping it, and then directing AI. No longer is a time where we should be doing the hard work in our business. AI should be able to do that all for us. What we should be doing is directing AI, approving the work, and codifying the work so that AI can do it better the next time. So this is what you're going to be doing as a business owner. This is your job. You're going to be asking AI to do the work. You're going to be observing the work. You're going to be judging the work. You're going to be correcting the work, and you're going to be codifying it. This is what your role is as someone that runs an AI first business. All right, so we're on Codex, and in the previous video, we went over how AI was able to act like an AI employee. It was able to write an email in my standards, embed visuals, and so on. Today's video, I sort of want to go over what allows AI to do work predictably like an AI employee. So the first thing you're looking at is the agent. So I'm using Codex right now. They could be using Cloud Code, Grokbot, Cowork. Doesn't really matter what platform you're using. You're getting access to an agent. Okay. Now, the difference between an agent and an AI employee is that an agent has access to tools, can make tool calls, can reason, can think, and it can act, while an AI employee can do all of those things, but an AI employee has access to your business context, your work standards, and has access to custom tools if you give it to. So tools available inside of your business exclusively. So that's the difference between an AI agent and an AI employee. Now, when you interact with an AI agent, if I just ask to do something, if we don't give it the 6 elements I shared last time in the previous video, we're going to get outputs that aren't that good. So the 6 elements, how do they actually look like? So the first thing is a project space. So if I go to my chat over here, let me zoom in very, very quickly. I have a project already connected called Rashid Business. Now on the right side, if I click on toggle side panel and I click on files, this is the project that Codex or the agent has access to. Okay, so all of my business context is inside of this folder on my computer. So this is what AI is going to get access to. I'm giving AI access to this folder on my computer, and it can pretty much access my business. So there's marketing, operations, output, product, sales, strategy, and so on. So these folders are where I store all of my digital assets per se. And so digital assets are the deliverables that I have in my business, and also are the processes and inputs that I store that allow me to create those deliverables. So for example, marketing, I might have some branding guidelines. I might have some other resources inside of here. So if I open up marketing, I can go to proof bank and I can open up this. This has all of my access to all of the proof that I have done previously working with clients. If I go to brand positioning, I can open up big ideas. And within this folder, let's say over here, allows me to pretty much read. AI can understand everything about my business and the big ideas that I promote. False beliefs as well. AI can go read through this. Big idea visuals. So I have some visuals as well that I've used previously. I can open this up. AI can then repeat the visuals that I've used previously instead of need to constantly create new ones. So all of these are digital assets that allow AI to perform a job in my business. For example, this is marketing. Now, the way that AI understands where to find things, well, you need to tell AI where to find these things. So depending on what model you use, so Codex uses agents.md. Okay, so Claude uses Claude.md, Gemini uses Gemini.md. So really depending what model you use, you want to have that top level markdown file that pretty much tell the agents what to do. So since I'm using Codex, I'm going to open up agents.md. So within agents.md, it explains my workspace and my business model and my world model. So right over here, it gives all the in quick context and it tells AI where to go and where to find things. Okay, so that's included here. And then if it wants some more information, it can also go towards my business map that explains a bit more about my business. But this is pretty much a duplicate within agents.md because this is your business map. And the high level, every agent should know where things are located so it can be resourceful to find things. So if I go through this into more detail, at the top, it describes my business in one paragraph. It explains my funnel. Then it goes over my offer and product architecture. Then it goes over my Laps, which is a framework I like to use to quickly explain how your business runs. How do I get leads? How do I generate appointments? How do I get presentation and offers? How do I get sales? And how do I get fulfillment? And my support functions are all explained over here. So for example, if I want to start adjusting my product, which is my AI Employee Builder plugin, I will know how to do it because it can read this. It can understand where the assets live. So it all lives here as well. Okay, so it can also understand cross-stage routing rules. It can understand where to go. And it can also understand where I have my Notion databases because I do use Notion quite a lot to host my stuff. So, and then also department index. So what happens, every single agent will open up this file and it's able to find where things are located. Now, with the agent, it also opens up a tool folder or a capabilities folder. If using Claude, it will be the .claude folder. Okay, within this folder includes all of the skills that allows AI to do work. So as you see over here, I have countless skills that I use that allows AI to get work done more predictably. So putting this all together, that allows AI to find stuff in context engineering. First, we have the business map or the agents.md that tells agents where to find stuff. Then we have the departments laid out in folder structures, so it's clearly easy navigatable. Then we have the agents or .claude folder where we store the capabilities, which are skills. Now, the next thing is when I ask AI to do something, it should be able to understand how to sequentially do them all together. So the next thing is AI being able to access these skills and being able to call them at the right time. So if I ask AI, I want you to write me an email, it will call the right skill. And within the right skill, it will open up this skill.md. So in this skill.md, it's going to pretty much explain to AI how to write the content. So this skill is an orchestrator skill that tells AI how to write different types of content, and it tells exactly what to do. So it has different works, or what I like to call SOPs, or like specific step-by-steps on what to do. So if I want to write carousel, use this. If I want to write this, use this, and so on. So it pretty much is sort of like a routing over here. So if I were to ask AI, hey, I want you to write an email, it will understand that it should open up the workflows folder over here. Let me zoom in a little bit more. And then it will know that we have all of these different workflows that we could use to write the email. So I want to write an email, it will pull up this specific workflow over here, and then it's going to follow this specific step-by-step process or like routing. So this is another step, which is we need routing for agents. So we need to make sure that everything is routed to the right references and the right folders and the right assets so that AI can do the right job. So for example, writing an email will go through these different layers. We'll go through layer 0, 1, 2, step 1, 2, 3, 4, and then layer 2, and then we'll go through all these layers. I've documented my procedures on how I write an email from start to finish, and that's how it works. Let's do a live run showing you how it all comes together. And then I'll show you the last two parts, which is making sure I get AI to learn over time to improve these skills so AI employee can actually act like an employee in our business and be a self-learning employee. Okay, so I'm going to ask it, hey, I'd like us to write an email on the difference between using an AI agent by itself compared to using an AI agent with an operating system, which is giving it access to your folders in your business. So this is access to your tools, business context, and your exact work standards, which could be like skills and so on. And how it allows AI to be an AI employee in your business and how this can cascade into positive benefits to you as a business owner. Like, what does it mean to your life? And then contrast that to what happens if you don't give an AI agent access to your business and how it pretty much creates negative cascading effects. Okay, so that's the instructions I'm going to give to it. I'm not telling it where to find stuff. I'm just telling it what to do. And I'll guide you through how AI is using the AI operating system to get this job done. Okay, first thing we do is I'm going to change the speed to fast. And for context, I'm using the 5.6 effort medium because we don't need that much. So AI here was smart enough to say I'm using the right skill because it's a full email built around the perspective shift. I'll shape the contrast into one clear argument and turn operational difference into consequence the owner can feel in the work and life. Okay, so it's resourceful enough to identify that we're going to be using the right skill. So if I open up the skills, if I go down and I open up the right skill like I went over, it knows to call this specific skill. And then it knew over here to call the email workflow. So it went here and it called the right email workflow. So now it's following this. So what is happening on the back end is, number one, it quickly read through the agent.md. It understood that we're using the right skill. So it called the right skill. And then now it's read through the workflow, the right email. So it is nicely routing towards what needs to happen. Okay, so it already locked in a perspective shift. So old belief, new belief, emotional core, the two cascades, and so on. So what I could do is I can then approve this if I like this, and then I can move on to the next step. Okay, so this works. Let's continue. So for my process for creating email, AI is calling specific skills so it can do specific steps correctly. So the first step over here was the perspective shift. I want to make sure that I get a solid perspective shift on what the email is going to be about. Because if we don't have a perspective shift, then people won't really care about the email and they won't want to pay attention. So the best email, the best content gives people's perspective shift, and as a byproduct allows us to sell our offers more easily. If I had AI to write an email, I would constantly need to repeat over and over again. Okay, so whale bait charge. It went over the angle, the bait's a hidden reason, what changed whale test. Okay, I approve this works. Let's continue. Okay, so now it's asking me what offer should I promote. I'm going to say AI Employee Builders because I'll be opening up some spots inside my community where I help people build AI employees. And by the way, if you want to join, I'll put a link in the description. You can join. Okay, so because I picked an offer here that I want to do it, AI is going to be able to read the offer that I'm promoting so it knows how to create a relevant call to action. So what we're doing here is we're giving AI all the resources to act like an email copywriter in our business. Number one, it understands the perspective shift. It understands our ideal client. And now it understands our offer so we can bridge that all together. Okay, so we can see here now that AI has a good idea of what the email is going to be about. Now it's offering subject lines. So these are the 3 subject lines I give. If your AI is so smart, why does it still need you for everything? Your AI agents create another management job. Why your AI agents keep starting from 0? I like 1 a lot, and AI was right. So I'm going to go with 1. Let's go with 1. Now, technically, I can have AI just go through all of this, just without asking me for my approval. But I do like to direct AI to get the approval because these small decisions can lead towards getting better results, especially with marketing, because this does require some creative decisions. So now it's going to write it, the email section by section, and then it's going to review it as it writes it. So the cool thing is AI will always create a folder for the specific emails. So if I go to my marketing folder and then I go to emails right over here, and then I open up August, since we're in August, I can scroll all the way down and I can see all of the previous emails I've written, and I can open up this email and we could see that AI is already writing this email with the subject line on top over here. So AI can write the email and it can self-review what it's writing. So going back, the writing voice, it spawned an agent to write this. So we can see here that the agent is writing a specific part of the email, and then our main agent will review the quality of it. So as the agents are writing, we're having some other sub-agents to review it. So I have a writing agent, and then I have a agent that is reviewing. So over here, for example, this agent is reviewing the voice on how I write. So it makes sure that the content actually makes sense. So as you can see here, it is reviewing and it's making sure that it doesn't have any violations. Okay, so this isn't bad. It's already charged with what my audience cares about. And this is because we have a system or workflow that is going through this. So as we can see on the left side, we're spawning different agents that is reviewing the work as we go along. That way, I don't need to constantly supervise AI. So this is an element of the trust of an AI employee. Okay, we have AI do some work, and then we have a gate or an agent that reviews it based on the standard that I use. So if I go through the review, the what, this is a trust check. So it's checking whether we pass. So verdict, fail, 4 violations. Okay, pseudo actor. So the work still begins with you. I prefer to say, so you still have to start every job. Okay, active voice. But if every job starts with you briefing and routing it, but if you still have to brief and route every job, it's still better. I like to make it a clear actor. Okay, you still do not get those focus hours back for sales, relationships, and growth. So AI is likely going to do something because it writes its normal way, and I want to make sure it writes in my way. So we have these places in check. So make sure that output actually matches how I do it. So I don't need to constantly review it. Okay, so it continued writing and it's starting to look really good. So you try to fix and make the most sense. You switch to a smarter model, write a longer prompt, or use an agent that can do more. And to be fair, better AI can produce better work, but it still needs you to explain the business before it can begin. First, you explain the clients and the goal, then you hunt down the files, walk the agent through each step, check the draft, fix what it missed, and repeat the same process on the next job. If you've ever onboarded an employee, you already know how much time that takes. The problem is your AI never finishes onboarding because every new session starts without the client folders. Okay, that means production is still tied to your hours. Client work wins the urgent trade-off. Okay, this is good. Let's see what AI continues. And then if there's any adjustments, I'll do the final review before I ship it out to clients. But the goal here is AI is doing a job of 80% to the standard to how I write. And this is pretty much very close to how I write. So it finished writing the email, and this is the email it came out with. And it's absolutely not bad. Maybe a bit longer than how I would write it, but I think it's solid. Okay, so wrote the email, and quickly just reviewing it, it seems and looks like an email I'd write. Now, I read through this. The few things I want to adjust is that it's a little bit more repetitive with what it says. So I asked it to sort of make it a bit more concise. So it's going to go ahead and adjust this, and we'll see. Okay, so it made the adjustment and made our email much shorter. So this is solid. This is something I would send. So, okay, this is pretty much 9 out of 10 email. The next step, what I need to do is I need to include visuals. So I'm going to ask, hey, can we include visuals that we've already created that are relevant to this? We can use our visual library to implement these visuals. Another thing I could see here to improve is I think the CTA can a little bit more product benefits and value. So I'm going to ask AI to do that. Now, this isn't perfect, and it's not perfect for a reason, so I can show you how I would improve the AI employee. Okay, so it made a few more adjustments. This is solid. I think it's ready to go. I'm just going to ask it to add this to my Notion database, and then I'm going to run all the tweaks I've asked AI to do so that it can update the skills, so next time it runs more smoothly. So what I do is I have the skill called retrospective, and what it does, it allows us to review all the skill learnings to improve the skills. I'm going to go ahead and copy a prompt as well. So I'm going to click on enter, and let's see what AI does. So this skill pretty much reviews everything that we went over our chat, and it will use that to improve our skills. All right, so I dropped the retrospective and it finished the email. So let's review that together. Okay, so it actually did a very good job. So it actually reviewed the work one more time before it published to Notion, and I didn't need to do any edits. Okay, so reading this is solid. The only thing we're missing is we're missing a but here. So, okay, if you ever handed an AI agent, so you probably had you switch to smart model. Be fair, you can actually improve the work with a stronger model. But it doesn't change the fact that you need to do everything yourself. So we need to reiterate that over here. So I asked AI to do that, and we're going to use that to improve our next email. But this is pretty much ready to go. It has a visual that I like to have, has another visual here, and then it has the CTA that explains the whole offer that they get so they can join. So the goal of this email is to land the perspective shift and then promote my community. So it did the job correctly. So those are the 6 fundamentals implemented: project space, business map, skills, system routing, trust, and learning. Those are the 6. So by now you should understand that you should stop prompting AI constantly, but instead you should be giving AI these 6 fundamentals in an operating system. In this case, I was using Codex and I had a folder structure that shared it with it. Now, if you want to do the same and you want to build AI employees and you have Codex or Cloud Code running as your AI operating system in your business, then I'm going to put the link to join AI Employee Builders in the description below. I'll see you inside. And if you found this video helpful, a like and subscribe would go a long way. I'll see you in the next video.